Good evening, District 40, and Happy New Year. I know it's 28 days into the new year, but this is the first time you're seeing us for the new year. So Happy New Year. We hope that you all had an enjoyable holiday season with your friends and family and had a great start to your 2025. Hi, District 40 podcast co-host. How are you all doing today?
Not too shabby, thanks, Althea.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've seen your smiling faces. I've missed you guys.
Yeah, it's been crazy up here with all this snow. It won't
Mhm.
go away.
I know.
I just saw grass in my front yard for the first time in almost a month. I took a
Mhm.
picture of it. It was so fascinating.
Yeah, yes. The sun was definitely shining. Even though it was cold, the sun was out today, so I love that.
Mhm.
It just
Loved it,
like,
loved it, loved it.
yeah, just like I have grass.
Yes, we have grass.
It
And
only felt great too when you were standing in the
in the
sun.
sun.
Yeah, if it was shade, it made it that much cold.
Oh
Yeah, so
yeah,
I'm with you on that.
absolutely, absolutely. Well, let's go ahead and get things started. As always, we like to share with you our podcast mission. Our mission statement is to educate and to entertain our listeners and viewers by providing a positive and supportive experience to help listeners and viewers develop stronger communication and leadership skills. As customary with all of our podcast episodes, we like to introduce to you the word of the day. And the word of today is edify. And the definition of edify is to edify someone is to teach them in a way that improves their mind or character. An example of using the word edify in a sentence: Toastmasters meetings edify members by fostering personal growth, enhancing communication skills, and building confidence through constructive feedback. So,
Mhm.
anyone utilizing the speaking platform this evening is strongly encouraged to utilize the word of the day. Well, I want to check in with you all to see if there's any fun holiday events or things that you all did with your family during the holiday season.
RELAX. Relax.
Love that.
Yeah, just really just taking the time to just sit back, not do anything,
Yeah.
and just watch some movies, just take some time to really just chill.
Hmm.
Slept in some days.
Hmm.
So that was actually a lot of fun for me, for sure.
Nice.
You got
Nice.
any Rex movies
Oh,
Do I
yeah.
have any?
shows?
What do I have? What now?
So do you have any Rex
Any recommendations?
recommendations?
Rex. Man, okay, recommendations. Okay, I got you. Short for recommendations. You know, Angela, actually, I got one for you. It is I don't know if you will like this kind of genre. It's so like a more old fashioned. It's about a queen, and I can't even think of the name of it off the top of my head,
Uh-oh.
but it's Australia. If you typed in Australia Queen on Netflix, a show, the title will come up for you. I'm almost guarantee it definitely will.
But wait a minute, is
But
this
that
a Christmas movie or just a movie you watched during the Christmas holiday?
definitely Christmas during the holidays. Yeah, I
Okay,
did.
okay.
It's not a Christmas movie. Yeah,
Gotcha, gotcha.
yep.
Okay.
But
All
it's a
right.
show though out there, and it's a really
Mm-hmm.
great show that just really talks about history. Gives you understanding around the kings and queens. I like that kind of stuff. You know,
Gotcha.
this
Oh
royal
yeah.
kind of stuff. You know, up my alley. So yeah.
Nice. What about you, Angela?
What did I do? I don't think it was relaxing.
Uh-oh.
Um, a lot of hot yoga.
Okay. Well, that's some
So
form of relaxation.
that was relaxing, some
Hmm.
meditation in there. That was good. Just a lot of family,
Yeah.
busy moving around, but it
Hmm.
was so great to get to see the family and stuff.
Yeah.
So, how
Mhm.
about
Awesome.
you?
So my sister was in town for the holidays, and one thing she said to me when she came up to Ohio was, "I want to go somewhere to see Christmas lights." So I took her to this place out in, I think like Lewis Center or something, where you can like pay to get in and you drive through this like maze of like all this Christmas lights and stuff. And then you would tune your car to the whatever radio
Mhm.
station and like
Mm.
the music would kind
Yeah.
of be in sync with the lights. Yeah, so that was pretty cool to see my sister, who is an adult, just her eyes just light up just from all the
Mhm.
fun lights, and it's like she was like being a kid all over again. So I think that kind of made me
Mhm.
feel great that I was able to give her that experience. So what about you, Sydney? Anything fun for you this past holiday season?
Hmm. I was, as they say, productively unproductive. It,
Oh,
I just went to random family. I was off for 2 3 weeks, and I went to random family events and had
mm,
time to just reflect and think about things and sleep in a bit on the first week. And the next
yeah,
week, I was seeing what can I push in the next year on my to-do list to make it look a little smaller. Just
yeah.
kind of, I was trying to inflate my sense of accomplishment for the year. But and then the first week for to work after that was just trying to play catch up and all that stuff I'd
Hmm.
punted in the next year, of course. So it didn't really do any good for my stress levels after all.
Oh no. Well, hopefully things kind of calm down for you a little bit.
Yeah, it did a little bit. Just get instead of find that new normal.
All right. Awesome. Well, we'll go ahead and we'll transition into our interview segment. And I'll bring our guests back to the main room. So, Angela, I'll turn things over to you to read the bios of our guests.
Sure. I am very excited to introduce our guests. They are heading up the new emerging leaders section of a group of Toastmasters for people that are interested in leadership and have questions and want guidance and mentorship from it. We have Carrie Douglas, DTM, and Betty Zwire. I'm sorry, Betty, if I butchered your last name, but also DTM. And these ladies were just amazing. I had the pleasure of meeting with the emerging leaders on January 18th. We had a great session. They both have a lot of experience in leadership and Toastmasters, and for decades, area directors, governors, uh, let's see. And, as far as leadership, there's a question I have. I don't know the difference between a governor and a director. So that is one question I have. So both of you just have great history and obviously passion for wanting to see these, leaders come up and have the right tools to be good leaders and keep, a good Toastmasters leadership program going. So I just think that's amazing. Everybody showed out. It was great. Thank you, ladies, for coming, and can't wait to see you at the District 40 conference and
Yes.
hang out there.
Hmm.
So this is our interview portion. I will not keep you all to myself. Lamar, you have any questions that you would like to ask these lovely ladies?
Lamar, before you start, can I just answer Angela's question that she didn't know the difference between governor and
Yes.
director? Okay. At the time that I was a district governor, that's what they were calling the name that is district director now.
Mhm.
Okay.
And I was district governor in 2000. And I think the first person or the first year that they changed it to district director was Karen, the district director, Betty, or
Came
not?
after Steve, right?
Yeah.
Yes. Steve, I think
Okay.
Steve was the last governor.
And that's
Okay.
when
They all,
International changed it to district director and
Mhm.
area director instead of district governor and area governor.
Okay, thank you.
You're
So
you
welcome.
were
it
governor, I
wasn't too
just went
far
to
off.
war.
Okay.
I think
Okay.
this is great. We can just keep rolling on into this. So
Of course.
what are your roles now that I know Angela may mention some of what you all did. However, could you share more about what your roles now and what kinds of things you're up to?
Well, I'm up to more than what I want to be, but no.
Oh well.
Wendy had wanted to start this. this. This was all her idea. And she said, Carrie, would you like to be a chair of this? And I thought about it. In the back of my head, it was saying no, but then it came out of my mouth, yes, I'll do it.
Nice.
So we did it. We just started out. We had no idea, and we're still learning because this is the first year for it. And the way to learn was to attend TLIs this year and talk to people, let people know what we were going to do, and ask them if they were interested, getting names and holding sessions and just talking to people person to person. I like the personal touch when it comes to wanting to ask people to do something. And that's the way I've done a lot of things during the time that I was like district governor or district director. When I wanted to ask people to volunteer, I'd ask them personally. And a lot of times they would say no. And they said, well, maybe next year, Carrie. I said, okay, you're on my list. I will ask you next year. And next year I did ask them. Believe me, I didn't forget. So I'm doing this, and I'm also VP of membership of my club. I'm on the district leadership committee. I'm involved outside of Toastmasters in my community with our business alliance. And I've done volunteer stuff in the community for years. Betty,
Awesome. Yeah, please share.
I just want to say before I go on, sometimes y'all freeze up and the sound gets a little warbled. So if I look confused, that's what's happening.
Okay.
Right now, I'm a member of two clubs. So one club, I'm the president. The other club, I don't have an officer role this year. I was president last year. I haven't decided what my role is going to be this year in the district beyond helping with emerging leaders. There's always so many opportunities. I've been offered a couple that I haven't accepted yet because not really sure what I want to do. It's just, there's just so, like I said, there's so many opportunities and so many things that interest me because they're all just different ways of doing the same thing, which is helping to develop other members. And that's why I stay in Toastmasters, because it's just so rewarding to help people achieve the goals, and actually not even their goals, things they didn't even imagine for themselves, and just watch them blossom. I just love that.
Like the flower that's behind you there.
Yeah, there you
Yes.
go.
It's
Yes.
helping more members to be edified and be built up through their experience and coming alongside them in their journey and supporting them. I love that. So would you say that's
Find out we can
always that's something that's been in you just coming up? Like how did you found that Toastmasters would be the lane that you would be in a space to where you would help people to blossom. I mean, because you could be a part of a lot of different things, and I'm sure you are. However, what was it for you that caused you to align with Toastmasters to do what you just said?
That is a good question. I do not remember how I first heard about Toastmasters. I know it was decades and decades ago. But and I knew that it was something that I wanted to do. I was really interested in it. But for some reason, I didn't pursue it. It had to come to me. And it was when I was working at the EPA. Somebody in HR brought him in for a demo meeting. And I was like, oh, take me now. Yes, I was sold. And, immediately I was one of the charter members, DPE president right away. It was probably the second year that I learned about outside the club. Oh, there's other clubs out there. Oh, there's this thing called an area director, excuse me. And she, actually our area governor at that time, is the one who got me interested in to be an area governor myself. And that was really an eye opener. I think maybe that's what sold me the most, or showed me the most, is visiting all the different clubs and just seeing all the different ways people do things and the different reasons they're in Toastmasters, the different things that they want to learn, and just to see the change in people. It's just so rewarding all the time. I guess maybe because I've seen it so much in Toastmasters and I just love the idea of Toastmasters, that's where I'm focused at doing it. I have to admit, I don't. If I belonged to a church, I would probably be leading some kids group or something. But for me, it's Toastmasters is my church right now.
Mm. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, and Betty, as I'm hearing you share what you share, you said you were working with the company EPA, and Toastmasters came in as a demo, and you said you were just sold immediately, took on leadership roles, and you just been in this experience ever since. What was that for you, Carrie? I'm actually reading a little bit of your background here, and I know Angela alluded to it, that a manager encourage you to get involved, within Toastmasters. So was that the same way of how you heard about Toastmasters and how you align with where you are now?
Yes, because I had no idea what Toastmasters was. I had received a job promotion. I worked with IRS. This job promotion required people who got this position to go out and give small presentations to small groups about IRS rules and regulations. And I could not do that. I was scared. And so my manager said, "Well, there's a Toastmasters club." And I'm thinking, Toastmasters? What the crap is Toastmasters? And because we had one in the building and people could get an extra 15 minutes for lunch. Because our lunch was 45 minutes. You got an extra 15 minutes if you attended the Toastmasters club.
Mm.
But the club was very small. Dan Blaney, who worked in the same office I did at IRS, but he was a manager and I wasn't at that time. He asked me I came with him to the meeting and I started not to join. I was ready to turn around and go right back out the door because it was small and I wasn't really interested. He talked me into coming back. If he had not talked me into coming back, I would not be here today. But Toastmasters helped me develop myself as a person. My confidence grew. Dan well, he said he volunteered me, but he kind of pushed me into roles that I didn't want to do. I'd never been a president of a club, and I'd never been an officer in any club. And then beyond that, like Betty, he took me outside our club and showed me. And I said, "Oh, there are other people doing what we're doing. This is great. Look at all these people. And everybody's so nice and welcoming." And that was the one thing I felt throughout Toastmasters, the welcoming of the club. And when I went to an international convention, I could walk up and talk to the president of Toastmasters and he would talk to you. Where at my job, if you walked up to the man who's supposed to be the boss, you couldn't do that and talk to him like a regular person. So that's another part that sold me on Toastmasters.
Thank you both for sharing your journey. I think it's greatly beneficial when we learn how we came to be in the roles that we do, and the things that you are doing is edifying so many people from the community. So it's good to know the genesis of where some of those early beginnings are. So thank you both for indulging in these questions. Now I'd like to turn things over to my co-host Sydney for any more questions or any comments that you'd like to share, my friend.
Yes. Whether by example or by direct verbal communication, a mentor of mine once told me, "Do what brings you joy." Some of
Mm,
that's been already been unearthed here, but I also think that a lesson I've learned is that if you go for the stages of life or go for the stages of service, eventually you get past all the jobs you tried and you're like, I don't like that, or I like that, and you hit something that's kind of your sweet spot where you can maybe you serve at large. What and you kind of find you just flow around doing what brings you joy and in service to Toastmasters or in life in general. What does that look like for you guys in your journey?
Hmm.
Well, oh, you want me to answer that, or were you?
Sure.
Okay. I'm still here, as like Betty. I see people, or I try to mentor people. I had a person that I'm mentoring now come to the emerging leaders. She was interested in finding out more about Toastmasters too, so I asked her to come, and she enjoyed it. And I think that's something that this is going to help her develop. I'm talking her into taking over my VP of membership job next year. Okay. I'm going to be mentoring her, but I want her to start taking it over. So that's what keeps me going and staying in Toastmasters.
Well, I talked about the joy I get seeing people grow, but when you were asking the question, what came to mind, I think the thing that brought me the most joy in Toastmasters was, you're going to love this, when Pathways came.
Okay.
Because
Nice.
you kept hearing about it. They would write about it in the magazine. This is when you still got the paper magazines.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you kept hearing about it, but you didn't hear about it. You just hear the name and you didn't get any details. And I kept asking and nobody knew. And so to shut me up, they made me the chief ambassador for the district, which was great. As Carrie said, what you really learn in Toastmasters is self-confidence. And I would never have said that I had a problem with self-confidence. I thought I was all that, but after joining Toastmasters and doing the different roles, you really do. You become so much more certain of yourself. And so I was like, sure, why not? And I loved it. I just loved it. I grew a lot. I learned a lot. I know it's not everybody's favorite thing now, but just the act of doing all that was it just brought me a lot of joy. I really enjoyed it a lot. And I still like helping people with it. They get so confused, and I understand that. And I really like to help people with pathways when I can.
Yeah.
I can understand that because when I'm just a young pup compared to some of the folks here where I only joined back in the wee recent year of 2021, and to me, Pathways was all I knew. Although I will admit I did experience some minor trauma when we made the upgrade to version 2.0, and we went down from 10 pathways to 6. the sh the trauma. I won't bore. I will not tell you my recoveries and therapy or the trauma I've had to deal with that, and that's just a joke, of course. Not obviously it's a vastly different. Obviously, it was more of just simplifying what we already had and made a good thing even better. But it is true that trying new things, even if it's computer based and totally different than the old competent leaders and competent communicators manuals, I've seen enough examples of those to know that it was a bit different in those days, but also still carry the same spirit because a lot of the same material I saw there are carried over to Pathways. So user interfaces will change, but if the content is the same and enhanced, you really lose nothing. You stand to gain things, especially if you make it more easy and more accessible to more people.
Yeah, that's great perspective.
Thank you for those. Those are things I reflect on with changes in life. You have to roll the punches. Sometimes things get nerfed, sometimes they don't. But thank you for those thoughts. I will turn the segment back over to Angela to close us out.
Okay, well, I want to make sure that we get some plugs in here. How can people, join the group? Let's put that just contact out there. And also, okay, this is emerging leaders. What does that mean? What does it mean to be an area director? Or at least where can we find that information? Or a division director? Where can we find that information? Where can we see what's available to us and what would be expected of us? We just put that out there for everybody. And selfishly me, I want to know.
You want to be a division director next year?
No, that's not what I said.
I think that's what I heard, Carrie.
It might be edifying, but I mean,
yeah.
next
a
year.
lot, all of the information you can find. We do have information on the D40 website, but at Toastmasters International, you can find out all of that information. What I want to start out with is we're going to be holding additional things with emerging leaders. We're trying to find out now what people want. So there'll be other events, maybe 1 or 2 before we have the conference. We're going to be at the district conference also talking to people. But they can contact me at dtmleadership@d40toastmasters.org. That's the email address. And
that's how they get added to all the events that'll be coming up.
yes.
Just let you know that they want to be part of it. And okay.
Yes, let us know they want to be a part of it. And we just got at our meeting, we got information from people wanting to know what were their thoughts. We're trying to put those together and trying to build from there. So we're still in a building process. We will still be doing different things. And for people who want to read about what an area director does, what a division director does, like I said, the information is there on the D40 website and at Toastmasters International. If you need a mentor, or if you want to be like an assistant to someone who's already doing it so you can find out what is involved in it, that's a good way to find out also. Now, for this year, and I'm going to have to put this plug in, we're looking for division directors for Division A, Division D as in David, and Division E. We don't have a division director for those divisions. Anyone watching this, if you're interested, please go to District 40 webpage and put your name in as to be a division director. If you want to be an area director, paperwork is on the website also, but you send that directly to Tracy Baker. I'm sorry, let me catch my breath here. I'm on the district leadership committee, and so is Betty, and we will be taking information on people who want to be division directors and the top 3, and they're going to be interviewed for the upcoming year. So step out of your comfort zone. That's what I can say to most people. It won't be hard. Being an area governor when I was doing it was one of the best years that I had in Toastmasters, because I got to go out. I've got to, like Betty said, meet all the people at the different clubs. You see how each one of their clubs, how they do their clubs, talking to them when they had their club contests, attending their club contests, having them have a club contest when most of them would not do it, but just giving them the support that they need as an area director and as a division director. Holding council meetings is just all great. Sorry, I have to brag about it, but I did enjoy doing it when I did it.
Well, I think you guys having this new, this is a new level of support. I feel like probably wasn't there before. And I just think that's great, because people are scared to come out of their comfort zones, and you're there, and you have this group now of people that won't let you fail, that will give you guidance and everything. So I just think it's great what you guys are doing. So thank you so much. And just keep us posted on what you have coming up.
Okay. All right. Thank you, everybody. Have a great evening.
Hey, Betty, is there something you wanted to share as well? Did want to give you opportunity to?
That's okay. I just wanted to let people know that you don't have officers need assistance. And there's also all kinds of other committees and initiatives that you can help with. There's lots of ways to show leadership.
Yes, absolutely. Like Angela said, we thank you guys so much for being with us this evening.
Thank
Have
you.
a great evening.
Take
Thank
care.
you,
Have a good
ladies.
Thanks,
night.
guys.
Bye.
Okay, I guess over.
Emerging leaders. So, Angela, sounds like you're ready to step up and
Well,
answer the call.
I could emerge. It would be edifying.
I think so too.
But it was a great, this first thing that they put on was just a great event. It was very inspirational.
Yeah.
And yeah. Anyway, on to you to what we've learned.
Yeah, so we're going to
Yeah.
kick things over to Sydney to lead
Oh,
this
okay,
next
Sydney.
segment on what we've learned.
Well, fellow co-hosts and esteemed guests, this segment, as you probably know by now, is a segment where we typically tell the things we've learned either recently on a personal, professional, or Toastmasters level, or just something we heard about the other people doing at large that's really cool, or just things we found in general sprinkled across the Toastmaster experience to enhance what you do in Toastmasters or life at large. And I believe for the first thing, what resource I will go first and share about something called the Evaluation 360 resource. Now, this is a resource that probably has a few different versions on the Pathways website. And I'm not going to show a specific example because it's more project specific in a way, but you can probably find it on the Toastmasters website if you use their search engine or you use their, I believe it's called Toasty, their new AI assistant, which sometimes can help you find things, sometimes not. But if you do projects and pathways, you'll find that this is a resource that you give to your teammates that can help them to give you feedback as a leader or and sometimes if you are also serving in district leadership, as Betty and Carrie alluded to, you will also be given the opportunity to receive 360 evaluations from your fellow division and district leaders. The way that they do it will be especially helpful to you in a way that will help you grow personally and professionally. You can think of it as an evaluation you would get with any prepared speech. It's simply a bigger version of that. Imagine getting your annual salary review or your annual performance review, and your boss tells you you crushed it in these 5 areas. This area, fifth area, you're doing great, but here's areas you can improve in. And sometimes the feedback can be, "Ugh, I stunk there," but it is important and necessary to grow in what you do.
Yeah.
So if you wish to use this Evaluation 360 resource as a general tool, you may do so. But particularly, it's useful for when you're serving an area and division and even district leadership. It can help you to give positive and appropriately critical feedback to your fellow division leaders, and something that is wholeheartedly encouraged. And if you wish to use it for other things, I don't see a reason why you couldn't either. And that is the thing I've learned. Dr. King, Mr. King, what have you learned? I
Love
almost
that.
used my nickname for you, Mr. King. What
Speak
have
it into
you?
existence, my friend. I receive it.
I
It's
love that.
it's DTM King.
That's
Yes.
right. DTN.
Either or, all works the same.
Yeah.
Man, Sydney, that's great. I really appreciate you sharing that resource, that 360 evaluation. It's got me thinking about how I can send this out to some folks to get some valuable feedback and growing, which is what I wanted to talk about and use news that you all could use is I learned about my leadership style. Did you all come across that in your pathways to learn what your leadership styles were? Okay.
Yep.
So this is cool because along the way, because we do so many different assessments, it's kind of hard to remember sometimes where these things are. Hey, well, listen, within Toastmasters, you can have all of this documentation in one place so you can go back to it.
Yeah.
So I went back over what my leadership style was, and I remembered my leadership style is democratic. I don't know how you all show up. There's 8 different other leadership styles. You can be bureaucratic, authoritative, innovative, pace setting, etc. And for me, I am democratic. So, Angela, we're working on a project according to how I am in my leadership style. I need to get everybody's feedback on this particular project, which is good, right? To have an opportunity for everyone to give their feedback and to contribute because it's a team project. So you want to hear everyone's feedback.
Yeah.
I know that's helpful. I also know the part where if this is last minute and Sydney is dragging his feet with giving feedback, and then I'm like, I still will want to be like, hey, nope, we need to wait for Sydney. Like we can't go forward until we hear Sydney's feedback. At the same time, as a leader, you you can't you can't make decisions that way. Sometimes you just need to move forward without even having everybody's buy-in. Would you all agree? You know, you want to be able to have everyone's buy-in, but sometimes it just doesn't happen that way. We know folks get busy with life, etc. So that's the strength of my leadership style, and I also know that's an area of weakness. So being around someone, because I can, and that you also get a chance to pick up on other people's feet or other people's leadership style, because I can hear Althea is somebody who gets things done. That is her leadership style. So I can sense that in you. So being around someone like that could also help rub off on me
Mhm.
to help me in my leadership style. You feel me?
Yep.
So that's the good thing about this Toastmasters experience is that when you're going through your own individual pathway, you not only learn about yourself to what areas that you do well and you strive in, you also learn about yourself where you are areas of weakness,
Yep.
where you can have an other people around you like a 360 evaluation to give you feedback to strengthen you. So that's news that you all can use. And with that, I want to pass things over to you out there. What is news that the people can use on this beautiful day?
Well, I gave a speech a couple of weeks ago about managing or navigating a difficult audience. And for those of you that are working on the presentation mastery pathway, I believe this is project in level 3. And the way how the project is set up is it's basically like a role-playing situation. You need to coordinate with your fellow club members and assign people different roles. And basically, these individuals are going to be disruptive during your speech, and you're supposed to utilize what you've learned in the project details to help mitigate the constant interruptions
Oh,
and
you mean
things of that
something like
nature.
this? Like how
Yeah,
you
exactly.
like I
Yes,
love your
something like
shirt.
that. Yes,
Yeah.
thank you so much. Yes, something like that. So I just wanted
Interruptions is
to,
That was very
some of my
edifying.
favorites. I'm
I
learning.
love the fact that you all are interrupting me as I'm speaking. This is great.
That was such a
But
fun project.
it was a fun project. It kind of got a little bit out of hand, for some people, but nonetheless, I just wanted to take the opportunity to just ask you all, have you yourselves encountered a situation where you're giving a speech and either, there were a group of people in the back of the room, having a sidebar conversation that got a little bit disruptive, or people weren't paying attention, they were on their phones, they were, doing all these other things, or constantly interrupting you, and how you were able as a speaker to navigate through those types of experiences.
I can think of one example where I have a good friend of mine who has a tendency to just talk and go on and on and on and on. And I've learned just from knowing this individual how to politely interrupt and interject when he's at the end of a sentence. Because
Yeah,
typically in conversation, you want to give that 2 or 3 seconds pause before you speak and you take the ball in the conversation.
yeah.
But this individual doesn't have that quite have that cue down, and I frankly I didn't either years ago. I
Mhm.
was that kind of guy, but I realized that if I just instead of waiting 3 seconds, wait half a second and then interject a thought, at appropriate moments or what seemed like appropriate moments, then that
Right.
was just the way to avoid. Like I learned to use interruptions in a constructive way that
Mhm.
wasn't offensive.
That's good. That's a great point. What about you, Angela? Have you experienced or seen or used any techniques in
Oh
those
my
scenarios?
gosh, I am the interrupter probably. I am So I'm the VP of my club, so a lot of the times I'm just making sure like things are going right. I have my laptop there. I'm making sure like are people asking questions,
Mhm.
are people voting? But yeah, I really can't weigh in on this. I'm probably the interrupter. Dang
Okay,
it. And
no
I don't
worries.
even talk that much. But no,
Yeah. What about you,
I'm sure
Lamar?
you're great at it.
Well, I wouldn't say there's always practice, right? And it gets makes us better. But Lamar, what about you?
Yeah,
Have you?
I'm interested in hearing some of your thoughts too out there. So for
Yeah.
me, I when I am being interrupted, I I'm really trying to listen to what the person is needing
Mm,
in that moment and recognizing that the person may just need empathy.
okay.
They don't need me to respond. They just
That's
need me
hard.
to say, "Thank you for sharing that. I
Mhm.
really appreciate you for sharing that." And recognizing at which points and times where I need to interject, and
Yeah.
then which points and times do I cannot allow this conversation to flow. Case in point, yesterday I was doing an on-call training, and someone wanted to keep talking,
Ooh.
and I said, someone just got done talking out there, and then someone else wanted to chime in on what, you know what, I got another point on that. And I said, nope, no, I can't do it. I
Hmm.
can't do it. We do not have the time, the luxury to be able to go on and share.
Yeah.
So that is one of those ways where I just had to get in there and say no based upon our time that we have. Now
Yeah.
I didn't do it in a, a distasteful way, but in a polite but direct
Hmm.
way to let this particular participant know as well as the audience know that we were on a time crunch.
Yeah.
So just each moment is different, but
It
definitely
is.
would love to hear some of your thoughts on this.
Yeah, I think both you and Sydney offered some great suggestions to our listeners. Angela, if you haven't had any experience thus far, I'm sure you will probably the next time you give a speech, you will probably have an opportunity to maybe deploy some of these. But the most important thing is to remain calm. You don't want to seem like you're losing control of your audience because it could be very easy for you to get into a back and forth tug of war with someone who's a disruptor. So it's really important to remain calm. And to Lamar's point, someone was speaking and then another individual is excited and enthusiastic and wants to share, but we're on a time crunch. That could be an opportunity for you to welcome a conversation after your speech. So maybe you and that person could go off to the side and have a more in-depth conversation about whatever the topic was. Um, but understanding your audience, knowing how to create space for people who may seem disengaged, it might be a good opportunity for you to maybe call on them directly and say, "Hey, Sydney, what are your thoughts?" And they may not have any thoughts, or they may be inspired to share all their thoughts, whatever the case may be. But just kind of using a little bit of those types of techniques, I think will be beneficial in trying to de-escalate or to mitigate a situation where you're dealing with a difficult audience. So just want to share those couple of things with you all. If you want to learn more about how to manage a difficult audience, please, please, please check out is the Presentation Mastery Level 3 project. It's pretty insightful, and I would love to hear from any of you all that have given speeches where you had that role playing, and I'm just kind of curious how that whole thing turned out. But I'll go ahead and turn things over to Angela, I think, to go ahead and share what you've learned.
I do think to add to that, the taking things offline in a meeting, like I,
Hmm.
I was thinking of speeches specifically, but in a
Yeah,
meeting,
yeah.
taking things offline, great idea.
Hmm.
What I learned, like I said, I went to that emerging leaders event in this oh my gosh, I forget her title, but her name is Jenny Lee. And she spoke and just had a lot of insightful things that I wrote down. And one of them was about goal setting and just writing down your goals, eh, I'm sure we've all heard it a million times, but large goals to small goals. You can't just
Mm,
write your large goal up here. You're never going to get there if you don't have smaller goals in
yeah.
between, right? And then also, if you have habits that are keeping you from those goals, let's break the habit. Like, let's overcome the obstacle. And I just thought breaking the cycle was just such, it spoke to me because I need to break a lot of cycles. So I just think that it was great advice. It was a great speech, and it was definitely just a great group.
Mhm.
So that's what I learned and took away from that. Also, okay, so I wrote down self-doubt affects everyone. Exclamation point, exclamation point,
Mhm.
exclamation
Mhm.
point. So what you're talking to yourself, what you're saying to yourself,
Mhm.
affects is not just affecting you. What you're telling yourself, what you're doubting about yourself, it's affecting other people. So just break that cycle, and I just think that's what I learned this week, and I just really think this emerging leaders thing is going to be a really cool thing. So that's what I've been learning.
Awesome. Good stuff. So I think we're kind of running a little bit short on time. So I'm going to, before we go over to the evaluation portion with Lamar, just want to tap in with you all to see if you have any news you'd like to share with our listeners or viewers today.
About the only thing I think I'd want to share would be in regards to it being the contest season. Now, I don't have exact dates in front of me, but we are effectively now in contest season.
Hmm.
Clubs have until about the end of this month, the month to have their club contests. Probably early February, but probably just say that. Probably see if you haven't had your club contest now, please schedule for your next meeting or two. And we have about till the end of February for area contests all across District 40,
Hmm.
and the end of March for divisions A through E. And the District 40 contest will be happening at, I'm trying to think, it's the Kentucky Derby. I can't I always forget if it's in April or March, but the Kentucky Derby District 40 conference, and there was information
Hey,
on the conference website.
May 2nd through the 4th.
May 2nd through the 4th.
yeah.
There you go.
Mhm.
So club contest is upon us. If you've not thought about signing up for a contest, this is your last warning because it is underway now. It is not approaching. It is here.
Mhm.
That's all I got.
Yeah, we've been talking about this for months, and the fact that we are a few months away from the conference weekend is pretty incredible. Time is surely flying. So, to Sydney's point, registration is still open for the conference. I believe the price does go up for registration after February 1st. So please, please, please check that out. Lamar, any news you'd like to share with the listeners and viewers?
Yeah, right quick. If you are a club and you may be saying to yourself, "Hey, we're struggling to get membership," one of the things that I'm thinking of is understanding and meeting the needs of your people. If that's 8 people you have in your club, if that's 5 people you have in your club, if that's 20 people, whatever that is, what are the needs of your people? And one of the things that I was challenged with when I was vice president education some years ago is one of the things that we started doing was having guest speakers come in. And I think we talked about this on this platform before.
Mhm.
But one of the things that we were doing, I believe was really unique, was we had someone come in and talk about finances. And this was at the beginning of the year in January. So we would have someone come every second Thursday of the month within my club. And we called it more so an educational series. So people knew that they were going to be educated on various subject matter. We had someone come in and talk about life insurance, someone come in and talk about how to buy a home. And we didn't pay any of these folks in our budget. We What we did though was give them an audience for them to be able to speak and share the things that they had to share. So I want to encourage you all that maybe you have people that are within your family who have various educational backgrounds. Maybe you have people in your local community who can share some various information that could be beneficial. So be mindful of what is happening in the times that we're living in, while also recognizing what are the needs of your people, that needs to be met in terms of being able to help to build up your club. That's what I would share when it comes to news that we can use. So back over
Awesome.
to you, Althea.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for sharing that. Angela, what about you? Any news you'd like to share with the district?
I'll just keep it short and simple. If you're still out there, especially like I'm doing with our club, sponsorship for the district is still open, and they're offering a lot of really cool, uh, incentives for sponsoring, and I just think that's a great opportunity. So get out there. It doesn't hurt to ask. Ask your, you know, club, ask your whoever HR person, and all I can do is say no, or say
Yeah.
we'll give you a little less than you asked for, you know. So they get their name out there, and I just think it's a great cause.
Mhm.
Who would say no? So that's all. That's all I
Yeah,
got.
that's a great point. That's a great point. Sponsorship is important. Um, you know, Don Schulte, shout out to you. He's the fundraiser chair for our conference, and seeking out individuals or organizations to help sponsor this event, to help reduce the costs, also to just build visibility for those businesses. And like you said, Angela, it's a great, opportunity to not only pour into us as Toastmasters, but to kind of get your business known too as well. So, thank you for sharing that. The only quick thing I wanted to share is that we do have District 40 every Wednesday, a Wednesday webinar session. So this is a great opportunity for Toastmasters to come. It's just 1 hour from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. on Wednesday on Zoom, where we have a host of different presentations that will be covered. Coming up tomorrow, it's going to be actually a two-part series. This one is part one of how to become a DTM, or your road to DTM. So for those of you that are this close to becoming a DTM, or you're curious about what a DTM is and how do you achieve a Distinguished Toastmaster Award, this will be a great opportunity for you to come and learn more about the DTM program. You can get your questions answered. If you need assistance with trying to figure out what your DTM project should be, if you're interested in learning more about the speechcraft or the youth leadership, if you want to be a sponsor, a coach, a mentor, again, great opportunity for you to come and learn more about all of those things that's going to help you attain and achieve that DTM status. So that's just one example, but again, every Wednesday from 7 to 8 p.m. If you follow the district on any of the social media platforms, we do share that information on the social media platforms, as well as the District 40 newsletter that comes out. I think bi-weekly it comes out. So just pay attention to that. That's where you'll get all of your information on what's happening in our district. So Lamar, I'm going to turn things over
Yes,
to
sir.
you to go through our evaluation segment, which my opinion, the evaluation is like the cornerstone of a Toastmasters experience. So I'll go ahead and turn things over to you.
Thank you. I appreciate that, Althea. Yes,
You're
this
welcome.
is the evaluation part. So we're going to watch someone give a speech, and we would love for you all to also to write in the chat, what do you think about the thoughts that you are hearing from this speech? And then we're also going to come back together to share what we believe, how what this person did well, what they can improve on when anyone is giving an evaluation. So I definitely agree with you out there. Out there, it's a wonderful way that we can be edified when we are given a speech. So here we go with
I was to tell you that a game of peekaboo could change the world? Sounds impossible, right? Well, I'm here today to prove it's not. Hi, I'm Molly, and I'm Simon, and this is my little friend Ari. Say hi, Ari. Hi. Oh, and this is my neighbour, Amajot. He has to take Ari away now to get ready for our experiment. But don't worry, they'll be back. My talk today is about some powerful things you grown-ups can do that shape us as children and the adults we become. How do I know? Because my parents and people around me did them, early and often. I know not all kids are as lucky. Some of my friends, some kids at my school, and many around the world. And I would really like to help change that. Thanks to scientists, we now know just how important the first 5 years are for our health and development, especially our brains. Ari started learning long before he was even born, from inside his mummy's tummy. When Ari was born, he was tiny, and he cried all the time. He was always hungry, and he pooped a lot. Now, he laughs and giggles and makes funny noises. But those are just the changes we hear and see. There's way more going on inside. So, let's talk more about our brains. The blue bag is the rough size and weight of a healthy baby's brain at birth. The red one is a baby's brain after the first year. It almost doubles in volume. And by my age, it's almost 90% the volume of an adult brain. Our brains develop faster in our early years than at any other time in our lives. It can create up to 1 million neural connections every second. But we need your help. Our healthy development depends on these top 5 things. 1, connecting. 2, talking. 3, playing. 4, a healthy home. 5, community. All of this helps our brains and us reach our full potential. So what's something you can do that can really make a difference? Scientists call it serve and return. That's just a grown-up way of saying connect, talk, and play with us. And here's the really big news. Amajot, Ari, you ready?
Ready?
Copycat games build imagination and empathy.
And?
Naming games build vocabulary and attention.
Daddy. Ari. Daddy. Ari.
And games like peekaboo, yep, peekaboo, actually build memory and trust. Each time you talk to us, play with us, make us laugh, it not only builds and strengthens our relationships and mental health, it actually teaches us some of the most important life skills. From making friends, to taking a test, to getting a job, to one day maybe even starting a family of our own. Interactions early and often matter. Take it from me, the 7-year-old up here, talking about brain science. Okay, now, let's see what happens when the connection is taken away. So now he's trying to get his dad's attention again. He's reaching out like, that was fun, why have you stopped? I know it's important for adults to use their devices sometimes, but kids are hardwired to seek out meaningful connections. Not receiving them causes confusion and stress. Okay, Amajot, please re-engage. Now, what if a whole childhood was like that last 30 seconds? How hard it would be for a child to feel calm, to feel safe, to learn to trust anyone, and the lifelong impact that would have. that makes me feel sad. Ari only reacted the way he did and recovered so quickly because the connection between him and his dad is usually so strong. The positive relationships with the grown-ups in our lives gives kids the confidence we need to try new things, to explore, and be a kid. So please try and remember the most special period for our development is the first 5 years, starting from inside Mummy's tummy. What's something really impactful you can do? Serve and return. And when? Early and often. Please give it up for Amachot and Ari. Every moment together is an opportunity to connect, talk, and play. Imagine the difference we could make if everyone everywhere did this. To us, to children, it's so much more than just a game. It's our future. Thank you. See? Peekaboo really can change the world.
So there you have it.
That was pretty incredible.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
So, yeah. So what are you all's thoughts around this 7-year-old Molly giving a talk around brain science? So, we'd love to start off with you, Angela. What comes to mind for you when you, in a way of feedback, what would you say for Molly?
Well, of course, I mean, she's a 7-year-old out there. I mean, that's just so brave. But she also has an accent and she enunciated so well to make sure she got her point across. So I thought that was really good. The headset instead of a microphone or something was a great touch. And I mean, there were so many great things about it. Geez, I don't think I have anything that I don't have an improvement. I love serve and return early and often. There's just a lot of great takeaways, props that she used. Um, yeah, I don't know. I thought it was all just so positive. I mean, what are you gonna say? What are you gonna do? Except try and be a better parent. Dang it.
You liked her call to action, huh?
Yeah, I'm over
Mhm.
here like, dang it. It's too
Yeah.
late now.
Well, it's never too late, right? So
Okay.
the first thing is being aware of where you need to make some improvements. I think for a 7-year-old, I think she did a phenomenal job. It- To Angela's point, it was hard for me to find something critical to point out. I felt like she was really engaging with the audience, even when she was using the PowerPoint presentation. It was a very simple presentation. It wasn't like word heavy, lots of graphics. So I appreciated that. I love her vocal variety. I love her facial expression. So when she was happy or sharing something that was happy, like you could see her face light up. When she was talking about when dad was, with his tablet and the baby was reaching for him and he was kind of ignoring him, you can see how her voice kind of softened and got a little somber. So I just love her vocal variety already. So for me, like the sky's the limit for this young lady. I think that she has a dynamic speaking career ahead of her. And like I would love to see more, presentations of her doing her thing. What about you, Sydney?
Oh my goodness. All I can say is I as much as I love being disruptive and picking on people and just being an ornery in general, I have zero defense against cuteness overload. The speaker, she was adorable.
Yes.
And the little boy,
Overall,
adorable.
I know.
I am a sucker for cute kids, and he
Oh.
reminded me of my nephew and my niece in a way. And then just to have her be so intelligent, it made me almost want to cry how cute and how well delivered and polished it was. Give
Hmm.
this woman, give this girl, this was probably a teenager by now since it was a few years ago.
Yeah.
No, maybe not quite teenager, preteen. I don't know.
Preteen, yeah.
Give this girl a DTM because she's already mastered all Toastmasters.
Right.
The
Facts.
props, the vocal variety, the word pictures experiments.
Yeah.
She crushed in 5 minutes what my wife has taught me over the last 5 years, and getting ready to be a dad someday myself. And is that, and I think one tidbit that I would add to her collection, the speaker's collection of anecdotes, is that according to my wife, who's sober-brained child rearing, I will not fact check her. The first year and year or two, year and a half, somewhere in that ballpark, screen time for the kid is critical to avoid just as much as it is for engaging with their parents because it just does something to their brains where it's like chewing gum. It's chewing gum for adults. They call it the boob tube for a reason, but wheelies can turn it off. Kids can't turn it off. They see
Hmm.
this thing and they're like, "Oh, what is that? What is
Yeah.
that?"
Yeah.
They can't disengage, and for their mental health and their cognitive development, it's so crucial to have that screen time minimized
Hmm.
at least when you're around your kid. Now, if you put them to bed and they take a nap, that's a different story. But that's the thing I'm gonna have to get used to. But I think just it reminded me so much of conversations with my wife, and I think having a child be the speaker brings a whole new dimension to it because it's not just the way the speaker prepared things. The speaker is an adorable, very intelligent young girl.
Yeah.
I'm that's a whole different dimension when the speaker's that cute, and you're just but it wasn't distracting. It made me more engaged. I'm like,
Hmm.
amazing.
Yeah.
What do
Yeah.
you think, Lamar?
yeah, shock factor.
I don't know.
Shock factor for sure. And I actually that's why I wanted to do this one particularly because I know it can be challenging, especially when you see a young kid as cute as Molly is and the information she has, to really not say anything of what she could improve on. And that's when my mind goes back to what Johnny would say is when evaluation is done for the speaker. And now really looking at understanding how as well as Molly did because she did. The humor she had, like you said, Althea, her vocal variety, her timing, you know, as to when she knew to really connect with the audience. I mean, it was genius.
Hmm.
And then even as she was walking off, she would say, "See, the world can change through a game of pickaboo."
Yeah.
And then even when she came back and embraced her mom or caregiver, I mean, that was so telling of the things that she was sharing. She was letting you know, like, hey, I need this right now. And for her to be vulnerable in that way and how she carried herself, I mean, at such an early age, what for me, it was going to be hard. I knew it was going to be challenging to get feedback on Molly.
Mm.
So that's when I'm watching it again, I'm like, I don't know, what can I say? And the one thing that did come up for me was when she would turn around and look back at the screen. And
Mm.
I noticed that when she was there, there wasn't anything there that technologically where she could look on the ground or look
Hmm.
somewhere forward like she was
Yeah.
facing the audience.
Yeah.
So I don't believe that was much she could have done or helped. But I did notice that that does take away
Hmm.
from the audience when you do turn your back
Yeah.
to the screen to look or whatnot. That
Hmm.
would be for me the only thing that I saw of in a way of how there could be improvement on the environment in terms of the actual venue that was there that was presented for Molly.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely it gets me every time just to see how well she's spoken and then also the information that she's sharing.
Such a crucial
So
topic.
vitally, yeah,
Yeah.
so vitally important and recognizing that there's a little kid in all of us.
Hmm.
And I'll always say that, like I love what you said out there. It's never too late because when I recognize it, is that I tell people that we all are kids just a little bit older.
Yeah.
And recognizing that that kid is still there, so that kid can still be nourished, which is something I felt could be beneficial for us, no matter however old we are. We can still apply these things. So thank you all
Agreed.
for indulging in that. And I know we went over
Yeah.
a little bit, but I know this has been great conversation
Yeah.
and dialogue that we've been able to have, and I've definitely enjoyed myself on this evening with you all.
Likewise. Thank you so much for that. Thank you guys for, like Lamar said, great conversation this evening. Betty and Carrie, thank you so much for being a part of our podcast and sharing with our listeners about the Emerging Leaders program. It's still in its infancy stages. We're still growing it, we're still developing it. But again, a great platform for anyone that is looking for leadership opportunities beyond the club. You know, our club is our safe bubble. It's a place where we know all the members in our club, we feel comfortable with them, but we don't grow in a small box, right? We got to step outside of that box to grow and spread our wings. So the Emerging Leaders Program could be that opportunity for you. So like Carrie mentioned earlier, they're looking for individuals to throw their hat in the ring to be a division director, again, for Division A, which is in the Dayton area, Division D, as in David, which is in the Cincinnati area, and then Division E, as in Edward, in the Bluegrass area, which will include Northern Kentucky and West Virginia. So again, lots of opportunities. But with that, I want to thank you all for joining us this evening for our podcast episode, and we will see you next month in February. So take care, be well, and we'll see you next
Love
time.
month. Peace.